Be me, Mason, 30, incident response engineer at mid-tier fintech processor called Skyline Pay in generic glass office park. Company glues small businesses to banks, moves card transactions around. Every minute of downtime equals lawyers plus angry merchants. My world is dashboards, alerts, runbooks, 3 different chat clients, and 1 basement room, humming like a cranky spaceship. Team is small, handful of sleep-deprived ops gremlins and developers who know which part of the monster they built. Management mostly leaves us alone as long as graphs point vaguely upward and compliance audits don't spontaneously combust on their desks. Then HR announces transformational hire, new director of people and culture, which always sounds like boss fight with extra steps. Morning all hands, we get marched into cafeteria that smells like burnt coffee, old pizza, and flavored sparkling water. Projector comes on, slide reads, reimagining power in our workplace. My soul already tries to Alt plus F4 real life. On stage appears Harper, pink blazer, shaved undercut, enamel pins, shouting slogans about smashing patriarchy and believing traumatized spreadsheets. She talks about structural inequality, emotional labor, invisible barriers, and how Skyline Pay will become blueprint for justice-centered fintech. First, I think whatever, seen HR crusades, flare and die before. As long as she ignores pager, I'll survive. Week later, email lands, subject Women First Response Pilot, which I foolishly assume is about customer service survey ordering. Open it, see paragraph explaining that emergency alerts currently favor men, because incident roles skew technical and male-dominated. Solution is Women First Pager. For every major alert, women on call receive notification 10 minutes before any male colleague. Idea is giving women protected leadership window to assess situation without being crowded out by masculine urgency. We stare at policy in Team Channel, half thinking it's a joke, half wondering who wants first HR fight. Our senior ops guy, Omar, sighs like someone added more logs to already cursed system and says we'll adapt pragmatically. First night of pilot, medium severity payment queue alert hits phone while I'm doom scrolling and pretending to wind down. Check rota. Only woman on call is Jenna, ex-help desk now training on ops. Sharp, but still learning underlying guts. Policy says I must not touch incident for 10 whole minutes unless expressly invited by her or manager. Watch queue graph wobble, see merchant start waiting longer, fingers itching over keyboard like addict staring at unopened bottle. Jenna finally pings me at minute 9. Hey Mason, something's weird with queue workers. Can you jump in, please? We fix it together. Merchants barely notice. Harper later posts in General Channel celebrating first successful women-led incident resolution. Couple weeks later, bigger alert hits while Jenna is driving home. Phone buried in purse, Bluetooth nagging under podcast noise. I'm staring at same red banner, timer in my head counting, knowing every minute means more stuck card authorizations. After 5 minutes of nothing, I break and join bridge, already behind. Systems uglier than they should be for response. Harper emails my manager afterwards, reminding him policy breach undermines psychological safety for emerging female leadership. Manager forwards it with, let's be more mindful, while also privately telling me thanks for keeping it under an hour. Next initiative hits, called Key Trust Rebalancing, which sounds like crypto scam, but actually ruins physical access to our hardware. Harper announces that historically, Only men held master badges and keys for data center cages, which encoded patriarchal gatekeeping. Her solution is mandating that all master physical access must be assigned to women. Men must request escort for entry. Omar, who basically lives in the cage, now has to ping whichever woman is scheduled access steward just to swap drives. First week isn't terrible. Stewards are embarrassed. They actually cooperate, walk down with us, swipe doors, scroll phones politely. Then access duties land on Chloe from recruiting, who hates the basement, wears heels not designed for data center tile mazes. Major disk array throws predictive failure. We need to hot swap tonight. I message Chloe. She replies, in Uber, tomorrow maybe. Remind her it's production, merchants in multiple time zones. She says policy says 8-hour response window for non-full outages. We escalate. Manager reluctantly drags her back in. She sulks through fluorescent hallway while we try not to scream in vents. Harper hears about escalation, emails that pressuring female stewards into performing urgency on male timelines, contradicts program spirit. Third wave. Consent-based collaboration. Long doc that basically says men can't decline meeting invites from women without written justification. If a woman sends calendar invite, any male declining must write paragraph explaining how refusal doesn't stem from entitlement. Result is my schedule turning into Tetris, played by drunk octopus, stuffed with quick sync and alignment circle blocks everywhere. Harper schedules weekly gender equity council during our usual maintenance window, half the ops team now required to attend. Sit there listening to marketing describe feelings about office microaggressions while my phone hums with low-priority disk warnings. Try to move council meeting. She says, this is deep work. Production can bend around justice, justice never around production. Then comes dashboard stewardship reassignment, which sounds technical, but is just trust transfer cosplay. Harper says monitoring dashboards encode bias because they were designed by men to optimize stress-based heroics. New rule grants edit rights on alert thresholds and dashboards exclusively to designated women. Men can only request changes via form. The designated women are smart, but not deep into systems, more interested in lowering red than interpreting why graphs scream. Over a month, thresholds get nudged up, colors softened, some noisy but important alerts muted completely to reduce anxiety load. One evening, payouts latency creeps upward. Dashboards stay soothingly orange and green thanks to new chill configuration. By the time merchants start tweeting, we realize half our early warning alarms basically got given lavender-scented lobotomies. Harper writes that maybe outage is chance to interrogate dependence on constant emergencies as masculine identity crutch. As cherry on top, she adds, male quiet hours, daily calendar block where men cannot initiate messages in main work channels. Idea is giving women interruption-free time to speak without men. Setting conversational agenda through hyperactive posting. Quiet hours sit right in middle of business day because obviously that's when creativity and justice peak. First-time payments bug appears during quiet hours. I type detailed note in incident channel. Stare at send button like hostage. Rules say I can only respond if woman speaks first, or incident has been officially declared by manager. I DM Jenna privately. She's at dentist, mouth full of tools, sends thumbs up emoji that helps 0 servers. Finally, manager barges into thread, declares incident. Quiet hours temporarily suspended, but 20 painful minutes already gone. Harper follows up saying she's disappointed men exploited exception clause instead of trusting silent processing windows. All this time, I'm not plotting some galaxy brain takedown. I'm just more tired every week, hoping phase passes eventually. We joke darkly in ops room about writing our own incident policy that just says, ignore HR, save production, apologize later. None of us actually want to fight open war with someone whose entire job is writing words about harm for a living. Things tip harder when she launches Women First Client Voice, because obviously we hadn't endangered revenue enough yet. Helix Bank, our huge partner, used to talk mostly with Omar and an account manager who understands at least 90% acronyms. Harper argues big clients need to see women in technical conversations. Otherwise, we perpetuate stereotype of men owning complexity. So she rewires contact tree so any inbound Helix Bank call or escalation must first route to a designated female liaison. That liaison rotates between Zoe from product, Jenna from ops, and Kira from compliance, with men joining later by invitation. First major Helix Bank call under new system is weird but survivable. Zoe reads from script. We patch in eventually. Nothing explodes. Second big call happens right after messy week. Helix Bank wants assurance about resilience. Ask deep questions. Liaison reads wrong script. They leave sounding unconvinced. Later send email politely, wondering who exactly is responsible for keeping transactions not dead. Rumbling reaches Martin, who had blissfully ignored culture experiments from his high-altitude travel orbit until revenue got nervous. He schedules in-person visit with Helix Bank for end of month. Big renewal discussion. Whole company basically holds collective bladder. Harper simultaneously announces Justice Review Day for that same week, integrating all her pilots into one coherent practice experience. Agenda includes extended quiet hours, women-led response rotations, equity council, plus facilitated conversation about how incidents feel. Ops chat turns into flood of skull emojis. Omar mutters something in Arabic that sounds like asking gods to unplug everything quickly. Night before the visit, on-call Rhoda puts Jenna as primary, me as secondary, blocked by women first pager rules. Late evening, a small anomaly pops up on settlements processing. Dashboards show tiny wiggle. New thresholds keep everything pastel. Jenna is at home juggling laundry and Netflix, glances once, tags it, watch, decides not to wake anyone unless numbers double. They more than double around 3 in the morning, right when she falls asleep on couch with laptop lid half closed. In the morning, I wake to handful of low-priority emails from merchants asking why yesterday's payouts still show pending. Open dashboards, see beautiful calming yellow that absolutely does not match the knot forming behind my eyes. Flip to raw metrics, realize settlement job has been choking for hours. Backlog now roughly size of moderate natural disaster. Ping Jenna, she wakes groggy, apologizes, says thresholds never went critical. She assumed system knew better than her anxious brain. We start emergency run, but there's not enough processing window before Helix Bank's reporting cutoff. Delays now mathematically impossible to hide. Manager spins up Incident Bridge, invites Helix Bank. Harper invites herself as culture observer, ensuring respectful communication norms. As Bridge kicks off, quiet hours also start, because calendar has no mercy, and apparently neither do gods of irony. I start typing explanation in incident channel. Remember rule? Delete half paragraph. Stare while everyone waits for someone female. Jenna finally posts short, seeing delay with settlements, investigating, giving me permission to unleash actual technical paragraphs. We scramble through logs, find misconfigured dependency from last deploy, easy fix. But backlog processing will take time we don't have. Helix Bank lead asks for honest impact assessment. Omar tells them we'll miss some windows, voice sounding like someone swallowing glass. Harper jumps in to reframe, says this is opportunity to move away from hyper-masculine illusion of perfect uptime toward honesty about uncertainty. Call goes extremely silent. Then Helix Bank guy says, "We just need to know when our merchants get their money, not your philosophy." Incident drags. We stabilize pipeline, but backlog looms. Helix Bank sets up in person, meeting with Martin and a couple executives for later that day. Justice Review Day agenda already rolling, Harper insists we not cancel scheduled culture segments because crisis is best time to practice values. Ops team gets half dragged into Equity Council, right as we want to babysit recovery. I sit in circle, staring at my laptop, hidden under chair. Harper asks everyone how it feels when men rush to solve things instead of sitting with disempowering discomfort. Outside conference room, backlog ticker climbs. My heart rate matches it. Quiet hours about to start again, like Iron Curtain on communication. Martin flies in around lunch, eyes heavier than usual, suit rumpled, clearly already briefed that bank is pissed and money is late. He barely says hi before heading into boardroom where Helix Bank delegation waits, along with Harper positioned at end of table like conscience statue. I join as technical support, laptop open, graphs up, trying to look like someone who has slept this week. Helix Bank lead calmly lists impact, numbers, specific merchants, chargeback risks, sounds polite but nuclear under the surface. Martin asks me to walk through timeline. I explain thresholds, pager sequencing, physical access policy, quiet hours, all the friction pieces. Harper interrupts repeatedly to remind them these changes are part of pioneering feminist operations model, and short-term turbulence is expected. Helix Bank lead finally asks, "So if I understand correctly, you deliberately slowed your own incident detection to prioritize gender experiments." Room goes still enough to hear fluorescent lights buzz. Martin looks at me. I shrug slightly because, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Harper says that framing erases decades of exclusion, launches into story about her previous workplace and structural harm. Helix Bank guy holds up a hand, cuts her off, says, "I respect social causes, I do, but our regulators do not care." Says if Skyline Pay can't guarantee basic operational discipline, they'll have to move critical flows to another provider. Meeting ends with non-committal statements about reviewing options, everyone filtering out, looking like they need stronger beverages. After they leave, Martin asks Harper and me to stay, closes door, sits down slowly, like weight finally caught up to him. He asks Harper whether legal signed off on Pain Fund, dashboard stewardship, key reassignment, quiet hours touching regulated operations. She starts talking about moral mandates, says lawyers sometimes lag behind justice. He cuts in, says that's not how fines work. Turns to me, asks straight whether ops team feels safer or more effective under these pilots. No corporate spin, just truth. Say we feel like we're juggling chainsaws wearing oven mitts while someone critiques our juggling energy in real time. Tell him none of us hate equity. We just hate outages caused by performative tweaks that ignore how infrastructure behaves. Harper accuses me of centering my comfort, says men are always uncomfortable when power starts shifting for real. Martin says, power is also contracts and payroll. Points at backlog numbers still on my screen. Says, and those are currently shifting away from us. Week that follows is blur of audits, emergency policy reviews, late-night calls with lawyers and risk officers. Legal discovers PainFund effectively reallocated compensation without documented consent. Compliance sees access changes violating written controls. HR quietly scrubs Harper's proud Slack posts. Some links start showing message not found. Rumor mill spins faster than Kafka queue during outage. One Friday afternoon, we get email from CEO thanking Harper for her passion, announcing her departure to pursue other opportunities. No farewell party, no speeches, just her door closed, desk cleared, enamel pins gone, like someone garbage collected a problematic object. Justice Review Day gets renamed Operations Focus Day. Quiet hours vanish. Women first pager quietly reverted. Dashboards returned to people who actually read logs. Nobody cheers publicly. We just work incident by incident, trying to earn back trust that evaporated much faster than latency ever will. I'm still just one engineer with bags under his eyes, not mastermind of her downfall, just another piece of system she overloaded. Few months later, recruiter from another company pings me, says Omar is building new platform there, recommended I'd be good fit. Go interview. They ask about high-pressure incidents. I tell sanitized version. Leave out feminist fan fiction part of operations history. Get offer with better pay, more boring culture, policies that mostly revolve around not breaking laws or servers. On my last day at Skyline Pay, Martin stops by, shakes my hand, says, "Thanks for not letting everything fall apart completely." Tell him it was never just me. It was whole team holding line while experiments ran hotter than hardware. Walk out of glass building into parking lot. Phone blessedly quiet. Incident app already uninstalled. Sky looking strangely large. Think about Harper somewhere pitching next company on justice-centered operations. Imagine their graphs slowly turning pink and useless. Don't feel vengeful, just relieved I'm not there when the same movie inevitably plays again with different logos. Sometimes justice isn't someone getting publicly destroyed. It's just stepping out of the blast radius before the explosion hits full force. Then picking a place where the only thing anyone worships in the server room is uptime and correctly set thresholds.